So my name is Elizabeth Chinea and I am in 11th grade.
Awesome. Thank you. So Elizabeth, what happened that made you realize that you needed our service?
I had been doing a lot of prep on my own and I just felt like I wasn't going up, like it wasn't helping, nothing was really sticking, and I was putting in a lot of work and I was like learning a lot, but nothing was like I wasn't retaining anything. So I just realized like I need to like do something so that I actually remember everything.
So you say you
So
were
you
doing
say
and preparing. Were you doing some sort of like studying for the SAT on your own?
Yeah, I was using Khan Academy and I had a tutor, but he was a good tutor, but I guess he wasn't good for the way that I like to learn, so I just wasn't really retaining much.
Okay. And why'd you get a tutor to begin with, I guess? Like, was there something before that happened, like a T or
Uh,
anything like that?
Not really. Like for me and for my family, the SAT has always been a priority. So, from the get-go, when the whole process started and my parents were like, "Do you prefer to self-study it?" I was like, "No, like I know how this goes. I know this is important. Like I prefer to have some like guidance."
And then when you reached out to us, I mean, so we are math, or I mean, now we do reading, but math is our forte, and it's what when you came to us was the main thing we were doing. Why math mainly, you know?
Well, I've always preferred math, especially because I feel like there's always like a method to the madness. Like if I learn it, I feel like it's easier to improve for me. I've always been someone that if I know the steps and I know the formula and I know what I need to do, like I'll be able to do it. So I just felt like math was somewhere, it was something good that I could target and just
Okay, it was like it felt more of like an objective. You
exactly.
knew that if you just learned what you needed to, it was gonna go. Whereas reading, you felt like, I don't know, like
Yeah, and
sometimes,
also
it's
like
just the passage, it's weird and
and also the fact that like a lot of the math that's on the SAT, I did it so long ago that like I like knew it, but I didn't remember it. And I just felt very rusty. So that was another thing. Like if I just not only like I learned it, but I relearned it. I just went back over what I already knew, but I had forgotten. I felt like it was somewhere that I could really improve.
so yeah, so it was like what math class were you in? Or
I was or I'm in
you're in.
IB
Wait, what is
Calc.
it? I missed it. Say it again.
IB Calculus.
Okay, you're an IB Cal. And you're a junior. So then what'd you take last year?
IB Pre-Cal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, like do you feel like math is your strength?
I'd say yeah.
All right, like me too, right? I feel like you're good at math. So okay. But it makes sense what you're saying. And that's pretty common. It's when you're like kind of so advanced. Like when did you take Algebra 1?
In 7th grade.
Right? Like that's a long time ago. I don't know about you. I mean, low key, I kind of still I do remember. I have some memories of being in my seventh grade algebra one class. It's a little weird, but that's a lot. It's a long time ago, and like for you to remember what you learned in that class is kind of I don't know. I always think about that when I think about the SAT, and I'm like, all these kids in pre-cal and cal, they probably. I mean, some of them probably don't realize what you're learning is not on the SAT. So it's like either you refresh or you don't. And you say, and if you do refresh, you'll probably do really well. And if you don't, you're probably not gonna do that well. So that makes a lot of sense. So you felt that that was the case too. Like when you went through the course, did it just mainly feel like, okay, it was all this stuff that I kind of knew?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, it was, and I felt like it was so like satisfying to be like, oh my God, like I remember that, like I used to do that, and now I'm doing it again. And then there were some parts that I had felt like weak on, like I didn't have a very strong base for a while, and the course just helped me like find either quicker, easier ways or like really fully understand it.
Do you remember the topics or no?
I
Or-
wish I did. I wish I did. I don't remember.
Did you have like because there was always like the geometry syndrome. Like everybody is bad at geometry. I don't know why.
Yes, that was something. Yeah, geometry was one of them that I was like a little weaker on. I think I just didn't have a very strong base on that.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, because I went through geometry in COVID, so
There you go. And even then, like, because I've tutored when I used to tutor all the different maths, and I taught Algebra 1 in school. So I'm very familiar with the curriculums. And so I think of like the geometry curriculum, and there's so many things you learn in that class that you just like that's not on the SAT actually. I don't know. It's just they pick very specific things from geometry on the SAT. Like similar triangles, and to be honest, a lot of the stuff that I wouldn't even necessarily say it's like strictly geometry. It's stuff you learn maybe in pre-cal 2 or algebra 2. That's the trigonometry aspect of it. For whatever reason, and those problems, what they'll do is that they'll just combine like three concepts, and it'll be like a three-step problem. And I think the hard part isn't the geometry. It's that it's like a three-step geometry problem. And when you want to get like at a lower score, maybe it's not as important. I'll tell the students it doesn't make up a big part of the test, so like don't freak out about it. But when you're trying to get what you got, you need to know it. Like you got to have everything. So I always tell the students that the geometry is very hard, but it's reserved for once you already got everything else down. Basically, it's always like that last thing. But all the students struggle with it, even like the most advanced. So that's cool to hear. So refresher, geometry, random stuff you didn't learn well. That makes sense. And so then, how'd you hear about us?
So I heard about you guys through a friend at my school, and she had told me that a lot of her friends had done the course, and that she had done the course, and she loved it. She was super happy with you guys, and she really highly recommended you guys. So I thought it was worth the shot.
Was she older than you or the same grade?
She's the same grade, but she did it in August.
And then you ended up doing and then you did a December prep. Nice. That's always the best. Just helping out your friend. You just on to the next friend. I'm waiting for your friend. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I told a lot
You
of
told somebody?
Really recommended your course to a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right.
So wait for her friends.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'll take care of them. We got you.
Renan, one of the things that Elizabeth benefit more from this course was you teach something unusual that is common sense, mathematical common sense. So Elizabeth learned some quick rules that you don't need to go through the whole process of calculation because we're mathematical common sense, and that's I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
It's one of the big things on your method.
Yeah, a lot of like like using like great shortcuts, especially because since the SAT is timed, like I can't just sit there and like take my time and do every single step for every single problem. So yeah, I think it was like very helpful, not just for the SAT, but for the future to know how to do like math like quicker.
That gets me in deep thought. I'm like, what? I don't even, because at this point, there's so much that goes on in our course. I'm like, what tricks are you talking about? I'm like, there's so many, but and I think what it is, because there's a little bit of both, right? We have to teach you the math. Then we also want to show you some shortcuts, but the shortcuts they are very particular to the SAT. And so what it comes down to, but not really. The more, actually, that's a lie. It's really math. It's like your dad said. Your dad's right. An example that just like off top of my head is just when you're solving like a system of equations. You remember that?
Yeah.
Right. So they're just when you've done enough math, in which situation elimination is faster versus substitution. And if you just do enough math, nobody has to teach you that because you eventually realize like, why am I doing all this work to do this method when this method would take me 2 minutes faster? Like, one method takes me like 3 minutes, the other one is 20 seconds. So I guess what we try to do is kind of like just tell you what it is. Like, listen, when you see this way is going to be faster. And when you see this, that way is going to be faster, period. We kind of try to shortcut you. And I guess that is the shortcut, right? Like shortcut your experience to something that you may have, if you did enough math, you would have had. It's called like, and I guess what your dad's saying is like, we help you develop, I guess, the math eye. I call it the math eye. Like when you have a math eye, you notice things and then you know what to do once you see that thing in the fastest manner possible. So yeah, that is part of the goal, I guess. And I guess I never thought about that.
And as Elizabeth says, it's not only for the test. It's a tool for the life.
That's what's up. That's awesome. I mean, we can go beyond the math, right? I mean, when have you had something this intense?
It was intense. I won't even lie. It was intense. It was a lot, but
It wasn't.
it was worth it. And it was a lot of work, but it wasn't like unmanageable to the point that I was like staying up till 4 a.m. every night. Like I did all my things. I did all my homework too. I would always go to bed at a reasonable hour. Like I managed to like juggle it all. And although it was a lot more than I had been doing and that than I was expecting, like it was honestly way worth it, and it was not as bad as it could have been.
So if a student asked, aside from what you just said, what else should they know about the course?
Um, I would say that one of the like best things to do when you're not like one of the best resources other than like obviously the classes, I would say is the practice tests. I did a whole bunch of those, like a lot, but in my opinion, like there's no better way to learn at like after you've already learned the material that you need to learn, there's no better way to keep learning than to actually do the test that you're supposed to be doing and to just practice, practice, practice and keep practicing. And when you get tired of practice, just keep practicing some more because then the SAT is going to come around and it'll all be worth it.
I will add two things. Okay. First, your laser focus homeworks. It's not just the same homework for everybody, it's what she needs in that specific moment. That's a very important part of the method. Okay. It's not just she doing practices, it's practices in the areas she needs the most for that given moment. And second, your team is always following up. If Elizabeth fell behind,
Yeah.
fell behind two homeworks on Monday, Tuesday morning, we receive a text message saying, Elizabeth, what happened? We're missing two. So that's important because the following up helps is the support we need to keep on track.
Keeps her accountable.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So practice tests, accountability, learn the material first. So we'll keep doing that. I like that. I mean, it's through this feedback that we've actually developed a lot of these. All the students tell me that same thing. They're like, yeah, but a lot of a lot of the students will say is actually like the chats were the worst and the best part of it. I was like,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, oh my God, these
I would
people are.
always get the messages and I'd be like hanging out with friends or something and I'd be like, oh no.
I gotta
Oh
go, guys.
no,
Like,
another one of those. But then like but it makes sense why it happened and it was all for good reason.
it's like, yeah, we got your back. It's like I get it. You're living your life, doing a bunch of other things, and we're fully focused on what your goal is. So, we're there to help you in the moments where you're doing other things and maybe you lose that focus for a second. We're like, no, 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 no. Pause. We only got 2 more weeks or whatever. Like we're going in. So I'm glad you just followed through with it. That's it. And I hope people realize that it takes two to tango. You know what? Like before you even came to the prep course, I forgot to ask you, what was your expectation of the virtual group learning environment?
Um, I mean, I always had very high hopes for it. I know like a lot of times like virtual learning isn't as like or isn't seen as like as helpful as like in person, but I mean, I had heard like such great things and from what I had seen through the messages and the Google Classroom, like it all looked so organized that I was like, yeah, like when I get to that first Zoom, like I know it's gonna be like they're gonna be on top of it. Like I had no worries. I was like, I'm going to learn. Like
How did it compare to like the COVID days?
a whole other, like literally a whole other world, a whole other ballpark. Because during the COVID days, like I won't say all of my teachers, but a lot of my teachers would like they didn't know quite how to work a lot of like the like how to work
Technology.
with students when they were online, like and how to make sure that they were like actually paying attention and on task. And I didn't see that issue like at all in the courses, especially because everyone tended to want to be on task and
Yeah,
to be present anyways. But either way, like it was so like the teachers were so like good at like explaining that I just I always felt like I knew what was going on, and they also were they were so focused on making sure that you understood and not like moving on to the next question or the next topic before like everyone in that Zoom fully understood what was going on.
Yeah, of course. When we make you send your responses, you know we tracked all your responses, right?
Yeah.
I still have them all, bro. I'm gonna go look. I at some point I have to look at that data and just figure out like, all right, when they get this one wrong, they're gonna get a set, or they get that one right, they're gonna get a 780 for sure, bro. Like, I gotta figure it out, bro. That's awesome. So I guess at the end of the day, you know, well, what was ultimately the result that we helped you get? Like, what was your final score and total improvement on the math?
I ended up getting a 780, which is 230 points higher than I had originally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome because I mean, our students improve a lot, but the average was 150. So you went above and beyond. So I gotta congratulate you.
Thank you.
Because you know, you look at the average, and I mean, yeah, so our course helps, but I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's what you do with it. Like you did what you could. Like you really went. I mean, you were 20 points from perfect. You probably missed 2 problems, maybe, or something like that, you know, like that's crazy. So congrats.
Thank you.
So yeah, what does this result meant for you or like enabled you to do?
Um, it means a lot. First off, it means that I learned, I got better at math, which is always great. Then it also means that there's not as much stress with SAT and with, you know, college right around the corner. And it also means like it helped me see a lot that all of this effort, although in the moment it seems like a lot, like it was way more than worth it. And if I put in this much effort into really anything I do, like who knows what could happen and who knows what I could achieve.
And that right there is why I wake up and do what I do. I'm so happy that you know, it's beyond math. I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It is worth it. It is, you know, the hard work. You know, ultimately, you do good things come to fruition. So that's awesome. Now you made my night. I'm good, man. I'm gonna go relax. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go chill, man. That's awesome. You got any advice for the for the students on their journey?
Stay focused, keep working, keep practicing, go like way above and beyond, because that's what I did, and it seemed psycho to me, to literally anyone that I would tell that like all of the work that I was doing. Um, but honestly, I look back and I'm like, oh, that was light. Like I did that.
That's the best. That's
Like,
awesome. I mean, yeah, you're right. You keep adjusting. That's the thing you don't realize is that your body gets used to it. And then later on, you're the crazy person. Like I'm the crazy. I work all the time. People think I'm crazy, and I'm like, I'm chilling, man. Like I work all day. To me, that's nothing. Like, um, that's awesome. I'm so happy. Is there anywhere a program could be improved? I'm always looking for feedback.
I I literally have nothing to say.
Nah,
I can't think of a single like thing.
I'll keep looking.
It's really good. Really,
Yeah.
really good. Really good.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on today, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye.